My presentation is about my personal journey, how I define sustainability, and then how I've translated that through the decisions in my work and life. I think at a very young age, I realized I had very different interests. I had a very eclectic sense of style, and I would express myself in ways through color, through texture, through pattern. And as you can see here, I was not afraid to do that. My years at RISD were very foundational for me. I think what it really taught me was a lot of discipline when it came to the way I work even today. But more importantly, I think what I did right in my early years at college in America was that I chose a lot of electives outside of industrial design, which actually taught me a lot of things that I practice even today, using ceramics, metal, set design, a whole bunch of other electives that really enhanced my understanding of how to really be a layered designer. What it didn't really equip me with was how to be a good businesswoman, and I think what you see here are a lot of things that I even struggle with today. And I think what my endeavor is every day is really how to take my talent and turn it into a sustainable business, a business that isn't a hobby. And accepting a lot of things that I kind of go through even now, like artistic block and valuing my own artistic worth, are things that I even struggle with today. But I think what has been great for me is kind of learning from these things, finding truths in them, and then creating boundaries between what I say yes to and what I say no to. So this is a quick timeline of Josmo's journey. There have been a few years that have been quite pivotal for us, starting with 2010, which is our founding year. I think those were the crucial years that I built my reputation as a designer, when I lived in Mumbai. 2016 was very, very important for me personally and for the business, because that's when I decided to move to Goa and make a big shift in how I lived my life and how the business operated. 2018 was when we went from a small enterprise to a bigger enterprise. We owned a factory, we owned a retail space, our team started growing, and things started really becoming real. 2020 and 2021 was very, very crucial for us in terms of growth and expansion. Our teams grew, the factory's footprint grew, and then 2021 onwards, we kind of became bigger and better, and I like to think of it as, us kind of taking off into space, and, it's only been upward since then. So I'll talk a little bit about what my role and what the version of Josmo was during the early years in Mumbai. We focused on a lot of art furniture. We focused on one client at a time, where we worked with the client in a very intense way of creating very bespoke pieces for them. We worked with fiber, metal, wood, ceramics, worked with antiques, cement, and I think what that taught me was a lot of people skills, to be adaptive, to learn from my mistakes and move forward quickly. But I feel like I could feel even then that something was really missing, and the fulfillment of that mode of working was starting to dwindle, and I realized that there was purpose missing in the way I was running Josmo. So I decided to pivot. I decided to give up the fast lane, move to Goa, reconnect with redefining my purpose, taking a step back, and realizing that I would have to work that much harder operating from a place like Goa to stay relevant, to be connected to things that move so fast in a place like Mumbai. But I think what worked for me is that, unlike Mumbai, where the city controls your time, Goa is a place where you can operate at whatever speed you want. You can be in 7th gear every day, you can be in 1st gear, you can kind of adjust and adapt to whatever it is that works for you, and the city has no control over that. So I think that was very important for me personally. I think that's when things kind of fell into place for me in Josmo. I realized that good habits create good art, and I started to focus on what Josmo's goals were at large. I started making fundamental shifts in how the business operated. I realized that I needed to slow down and work with the team's speed, because everyone that knows me will know that I'm in 7th gear all the time. But I think more importantly, my vision moved towards working with the organization to shift from moving to a marathon and not a sprint, and that, we need to last for the next 30 years, and then hopefully in 30 years I can peacefully retire. So by virtue of that and kind of changing how we operate at the core of things, we started focusing on process and people. And we were very analog for many, many years. We were very tactile. We worked a lot with prototyping. We worked directly from very basic models to kind of moving into prototyping. But I think that these years of kind of focusing on process and people were the most exciting years of my career. And because we have a factory, it's almost like a playground for a designer. And I honestly feel personally there is no bigger joy for me than actually being able to create every single day and to get that feedback from the people that experience the products. And I think that level of excellence that we have with the pieces that we make has translated into every single person from the top to the bottom, and it's kind of become an integral part of our narrative now. So how we design now, and I'm kind of spearheading this to a large extent, is that moving away from being just analog to kind of accepting, adapting, and kind of encouraging technology. We're working with AI for the first time in designing our new collection. This is a hint of what we've been working on in Goa. And we have new machines which allow us to kind of play with the semi-automation aspect of the business that was very, very analog before with just hand tools. And the style has always really been very out there, very eclectic, and now we finally have the best combination of people and the right tools to kind of make that happen. This, our process has also evolved into spaces. We see spaces as an extension of our products, and they hold equal, importance to us. They're treated with the same level of detailing, the same wildness, the same colorfulness, personality as our products do. And we pick up clients when we do spaces like, very, very fine wine. We get into a very intense relationship with them when we design their homes and spaces. And so it's very important that they understand what we can do and what we're capable of and allow that place to kind of, shine. I think over the past 13 years that Josmo has been around, our growth has been just absolutely sensational. From where we started in 2010 to where we are today, our footprint has shot up. And because of that, it means we have more capability, we can do more, and we have more people, which means more impact in the industry. And I think that has been a very, very important aspect for us of being able to sustain the level of quality and really what we stand for as a business through this very fast and insane level of growth. But I think what's happened with the growth is that it's brought a lot of new team members on board. I started in 2010 with 6 people. We're now at almost 170 people, which is a combination of who we are in the team at the factory and then all our other operations. And what I've learned to realize through this presentation, actually, while I was putting it together, is that our people are at the core of who we are. Josmo without people would really be nothing. And I know I say this a lot, but a lot of people would say this, but our team is really a mixed bag of people. There are people that are from Goa, there are people that have moved from Goa, there are artisans that have moved their entire villages to be part of the Josmo family. And in all of this, we have one Armenian who runs our factory. So it's a really eclectic group of people, and I feel like that energy and that dynamism really comes through in the work that we do and how we operate as a business. I've been trying to really define what social impact, Josmo has had for a while now, and I've been struggling to kind of define it quite articulately. But I think I've realized that it's the people and the processes that we have and the perfection of the process that we kind of stand by. So I'm never going to tell you that we're 100% sustainable, because I think that's never going to be possible for us as a factory. But I think the little decisions that we take on a day-to-day basis try to move us in a direction of that. I'll give you a few examples of how we do that. We use only afforested wood, even though it might come at a larger cost. We use finishes on the wood and the metals to a large extent that are low on a carbon footprint. We use a nano oil that has very low carbon emissions, and where you can actually feel the material on the wood instead of just slapping on a material that covers up all the grains. We try to use materials in the factory that are low on a carbon footprint in terms of maybe using stones, using metals that are locally sourced, and we're very, very conscious of where we source our materials from. We try to source them as often within the state of Goa to reduce that carbon footprint as well. And that means we've had to specialize with a few materials and not diversify as much as we'd like to, and we're okay with that. We know that we have to slowly kind of build up that portfolio of materials. Since design and making are so intertwined, we're very aware of the importance of our craftsmen. And I think empowering our team members, our craftsmen within the factory has been very, very important for us. We take very good care of them, and every year we try to do good by them. We have ways of kind of integrating them into the system with buddy programs where you have you have one craftsman teaching another craftsman for months, so that creates teamwork and camaraderie and a sense of belonging. We try to take care of them from a foundational point of view of managing their health insurance and then eventually managing the health insurance of their entire families. So, once they're with you because you're taking care of their entire lives. It's not just a job that they go to, and they don't treat it like that. They treat us like family. And I'm very, very proud to announce that as of this week, we have our first 2 women craftsmen in the factory. I've been manifesting this now for a few years. My goal has always been that in 10 years, 20 years, I don't know, Josmo will be run by women completely. So I think this is one step in the right direction of that. So I'm actually very excited about this, even though there's 2 of them. And I have a funny story about this, that, the factory is filled with sweaty men. These women have come in and they've created they have a safe space where they can work. There was a housekeeping lady that walked into the factory and saw one of them stitching, and she's like, hey, by the way, I know how to stitch as well. She did a test and she was better than both of them. We might be moving her from housekeeping to actually upholstery. So, I'm very happy to hear these stories, even though I'm not there when it actually happens, but it just shows that there's such a honest and open line of communication between our craftsmen and us that you don't have to be afraid of saying, hey, I want to try that and give me a shot. There's no red tape. You don't have to jump through hoops to kind of actually get to what you're really good at. So I think these women are kind of like the manifestation of what that dream is for me. So I'm very, very happy to see that starting to happen. I think another big thing for us, and you'll see this through all our pieces also, is that we treat our crafts with the utmost level of, it's the most important thing for us, empowering the craft. And we see a big responsibility as a company to actually push this forward as a brand. I was talking to someone earlier that there are so many crafts that are dying, and they're not dying just one generation to the next. There are 3 generations of crafts that are dying because there's no real way for them to take their learning and make them into products that actually go to market. And so what we do is, obviously, we try to use craft as much as possible in our products, but what's different for us is we give the artisans time and space to create. They're not working against the clock, they're not being pushed, they're not being pressurized. They're being given that space to actually work respectfully with their craft. And it does come at a cost to us, but it does align with our larger vision as a company. And I think what has been amazing for us is that if anyone walks into the factory at Josmo, you'll basically see that there isn't really this hierarchy model that exists. The artisans and, let's say, the head of production or the designers, they are equal in the way we operate as a company. So there's always an open line of communication. We are constantly learning from them. We're constantly challenging how things are done to obviously get to a better place. But I see a lot of learning that's happening, with the semi-automation that's coming into our factories, our current space. We're teaching these craftsmen how to use technology because there is going to be a time where craft could become obsolete, and so we're kind of prepping them for the future. We're upskilling them to kind of be ready for that time. But we're also learning a lot of tradition and heritage and things that, sometimes you can't even really articulate in words. You can just show, teach by showing. And so a lot of the time you'll see us, sitting down with them, understanding how things are done, changing, adapting, and it's a very, very exciting and exhilarating time for us. I think this has been a big one for us, and I think this circles back to, how we're looking at having a sustainable practice. Is that waste for us is really, really big. It's the elephant in the room, and every factory has it. We're currently at 1%, fortunately. We're not that high on the waste, but the goal is to get it down to about 0.5 in maybe in the next 3 years. What we're doing actively is that, there is a project that is going on in the studio where we're looking to convert waste into products. Now, because we have designers and, the factory at our disposal, even if we make 100 prototypes and out of them, let's say 1 or 2 go to market and we can make thousands and thousands of them, that is a job well done. And so our endeavor is constantly to take the waste and turn it into wealth, but make it, do it in a way that lasts, that can continue, and that doesn't really require too much effort, because that then, hinders the process of actually, turning this into the product that we want to. What does the future look like for us? We did this exercise recently with a consultant where we sat down with all our head of departments, 7, 8 of us. It was a rough couple of days, tensions firing, a lot of laughs, a lot of arguments. But I think we narrowed it down to one big goal, and I think our end game, from what we all realized through articulating it, is that we want to create a furniture city in Goa, a destination where we can be the pioneers of design and technology, where we bring in talent from outside, show what modern India looks like through craft and production, and really build communities around this idea. So museums, workshops, training centers, housing, and this is a visual that I have created on Mid-Journey. It would look nowhere like this, but the idea is that it's going to be this thriving community that we would want to kind of spearhead, and we're working towards that as a goal. And I think to end, just to kind of give you a snapshot of where our head is at as a practice, we're only 13 years old. We're babies in the industry when it comes to, what people have done at large. But this is where our focus is going to be for the next 3 years. We're going to be working at strengthening our system from within. We're going to be focusing on our people, the craft, what we can do in terms of expanding that to niches where we already have strengths. So building accessories, certain specific lines of furniture, more go-to-market products. And really putting in energy into this furniture and this furniture city in Goa, and it's an exciting time for us. We have a lot happening, and yes, sky's the limit for us. Thank you.